back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Talia. A lot of you guys actually found my channel by my previous videos of when I went apartment hunting in Houston. Over the past couple years, there has been a huge influx of people that are wanting to move to Houston or either have already made that move. A lot of people move here for business opportunities, content creation, and collabing with other creators, affordable pricing. There are just so many things that people move to Houston for, and I want to give you a little bit of insight of what my experience has been since moving to Houston. I moved to Houston 3 years ago. If you would have told me the year that I moved to Houston that Houston would be such a hot spot, everybody and their mama wants to move to Houston, I would have told you no, I would rather move somewhere else. I do not like places that are overcrowded, and no, God, we're just gonna have to work something else out, and I'm gonna have to move somewhere else because I do not like being around a lot of people. I am very much an introvert. Moving to Houston for the past couple of years, I have really stepped outside of my comfort zone. I feel like Houston, it definitely forces you to step outside of your comfort zone, and it causes you to really want to better yourself and better your life. That's one of the biggest things that I really love about Houston is everybody has a hustle. Everybody has different things that they're into, and there's different types of people that have different interests. There's people that may be into art, there's people that may be into music, there's people that may be into content creation, there is people that have businesses, and you can literally find your group of people in the city of Houston because there's so many people that you can meet, and there's so many people that you can network with. I moved to Houston back in June of 2023, and there was a lot of things that I did not know before moving here. And now that I've gotten the opportunity to feel the city out, experience a lot of things, I'm gonna give you my honest opinion on what Houston is like after living here for the past 3 years. In this video, I'm going to be telling you guys what you can expect if you're looking to move to Houston, if you already live in Houston and you just moved here, and just some things to know before you move to the city and before you make that big move. And before I give y'all the tea on what Houston really is like, I'm just gonna give you a backstory of just my journey on how I moved to Houston. Moving to Houston was definitely a big act of obedience. After I graduated college back in 2022, I graduated from North Carolina A&T. And so after I graduated college, I remember praying for 1 year, to be specific, about just wanting to move out of my hometown. I am originally from Wilmington, North Carolina, and I actually moved to Houston from Greensboro, North Carolina. I was just sick of my hometown. I was sick of being in North Carolina, and I wanted more opportunity for myself. I wanted to see more. I wanted to be around and be in an environment that motivated me. And so being back home in North Carolina, I know a lot of the times North Carolina is a very, very slow state. And so there's not many opportunities, there's not many things going on, especially if you are a young, ambitious woman. There is just not a lot of opportunity for you. Now, initially, after I graduated college, I had my heart set on Atlanta, Georgia. And when I tell you, I had been wanting to move to Atlanta, Georgia for years. There's so many people that are in my specific field. I am a creative at heart. I am a visual artist. I have a business in marketing, and so I just saw a lot of people that were specifically in my industry, and I wanted to connect. I wanted to network. I felt like Atlanta had a lot of opportunity, and so I had my mind set on Atlanta, Georgia. Sometimes things that you may want or things that you may desire, God may be saying not yet, or He may tell you, hey, I want you to go here for a specific purpose for a short amount of time. He may say, I want you planted here for a long amount of time. Houston did not cross my mind at all. I never thought myself of actually moving to Houston. If you really have a relationship with God, you know that sometimes you can't really understand things with the human mind when it comes to God, and a lot of times you just have to act out of obedience. You may not understand it then. You may not even understand it while you're in that thing. We received a word that pretty much God was moving us to Houston, and so anytime that we receive a prophecy, or anytime that a man or a woman of God speaks a word from God, you definitely want to take that to God, and you want to pray, you want to meditate, you want to fast on that word. You want to make sure that this is what God actually wants you to do. In testing any word that you're giving from a man or a woman of God, you want to make sure that you are actually being obedient to his word and not man's word. And so I remember we prayed, and we just got confirmation that this is actually where God wanted us to move to. Shortly after we received that word, I would literally see a Texas license plate every single day until we moved in June of 2023. And this was very abnormal, because if you're from North Carolina, you don't really see a lot of people that move from Texas. I've never seen a Texas license plate until after I received that confirmation that we were actually moving to Houston. And this was consistently every single day. I would literally be walking to the gym from my apartment complex to the gym downstairs, and on my walk to the gym downstairs, I would see a car with a Texas license plate. And like I said, this was consistent every single day. A lot of times as a child of God, it's easier to be disobedient. It's easier to think that we know best. Ultimately, God always knows what's best for us. God always knows what's in store for us, of course. And we just have to be obedient, and we have to follow his will. And so me still being in denial, me still being just, mine is already made up, already going to move to Atlanta, Georgia, because this is where I want to be. But it came to a point in time where I had no choice but to be obedient. And so me and my sister, on June 19th of 2023, we literally packed up our car with everything, and we just started driving. We started driving, and from North Carolina to Texas, you know, that is not a short drive. We definitely crossed multiple states just to get to Texas, and we drove the whole way through. Of course, we rotated between me and my sister. That was literally a 19-hour drive from North Carolina to Texas. Literally, when I say this move to Houston was definitely an act of obedience, I really mean that. It was truly us being obedient to God, us being obedient to where God wants us to be positioned. Fast forward to today, I would say moving to Houston has definitely been an eye-opening experience. I have experienced so much within these past 3 years. I have experienced the most within myself. Coming from North Carolina, which is a very conservative state, and moving to Texas, where there's just so much variety. It's so big, it's so massive, there's just so much going on, there's always things to do. And so moving from North Carolina to Texas, it was a big change for me, and it took me a while to really get adjusted here. But one thing that I will say is I've noticed the most growth within myself, and I have developed such a new identity. I'm not the same person that I was when I once lived in North Carolina. I am a completely different person. I feel like my boundaries are a lot stronger. I just have more grit, more perseverance, because all within these 3 years, I've just been through so much. Just moving here and being here, and just the spiritual warfare of being planted here in Houston has been a lot over these past 3 years. But one thing I will say is that this move was definitely needed. Although I didn't actually see it myself, I did not desire to move here 3 years ago. This move has definitely been something that I needed to develop into a different person, to develop my character, to develop a new identity. So now that I have gave y'all just a little backstory of just my journey of how I moved to Houston, I just want to tell y'all a couple of things that you can look forward to if you're looking to move to Houston. So the first thing is, and I feel like this is the biggest reason why people are deciding to move to Houston, especially with how the current economy is right now. It's are literally skyrocketed everywhere that you go. The job market it's just a lot going on right now, and so I feel like the biggest reason why people are looking to move to Houston is because of the cost of living. Now, Houston is definitely more affordable in most states. You can definitely find an apartment within a good price range, depending on what area of Houston that you live. Now, I would say recently, I feel like the prices in Houston have definitely increased since I moved here. That is one of my biggest decisions why I kind of moved on the outskirts of Houston. So I do not live in like the heart of Houston. I live on the outskirts, and I feel like with living in the outskirts of Houston, you definitely get more bang for your buck. I feel like the apartment complexes are nicer. You don't have to live in a very bad neighborhood. When you live on the outskirts of Houston, the apartment complexes are typically a lot nicer. They're cleaner and more space. I haven't had an issue so far since moving on the outskirts of Houston. I actually love living in the city that I currently live in. Although I do have to drive roughly 30 minutes to make it to like downtown area of Houston, I don't mind making that drive. I don't know if I would actually move into like the heart of Houston. It just be a lot going on. Typically when you live in Houston, there's a lot more violence, there's a lot more crimes that typically take place. Stealing the tires off of your car, people breaking into your apartment. One of the biggest things that is a common thing in Houston apartments are just people tampering with your car, people stealing the wheels, people stealing parts off your car. And so that's one of the biggest things that you have to look for when you are deciding to move to Houston and you are deciding what apartment you want to go to. You definitely want to look at other people's experiences and make sure that this is a safe environment for you to live. It's nothing like putting a lot of money into a place and you don't feel safe, you don't feel comfortable, and your experience is just horrible. Also, one big thing that you also want to look for is bugs. Now, if you know me, you know I do not do bugs. I do not do roaches. I do not do ants. I don't do spiders. I hate bugs. If I was looking for my current apartment, that is one of the main things that I was looking for. Does this place have a problem with pests? A lot of apartments that you see in Houston, especially the ones that are really affordable, you can probably expect for there to be a problem with pests, because I know the outskirts are a lot cleaner. Like I said, it's quiet. I haven't had any bad experiences since moving on the outskirts of Houston. All of my neighbors are welcoming, they're kind. The places that I choose to live, it's kept clean. There's a lot of space, and I haven't had any issues when it comes to pests. I'm sorry, but your girl can't deal with no roach. If I have to pay a little bit more money every month to be in a place where I don't have to worry about pests, having a problem with roaches or ants, I'm gonna pay a little bit more money to live comfortably and live in an environment that I can actually live in. So because Houston is not a place where you can walk everywhere, you definitely need a car for transportation. Just not having a car, it can be a huge inconvenience when you are trying to do anything. Even if you work from home, you need a vehicle to get back and forth. Houston is not a walkable city. You are going to need a vehicle to get around Houston. Traffic here in Houston is bad, of course, because a lot of people are moving here. A lot of people live in Houston. You can definitely expect that there will be a lot of traffic here in Houston, especially in the early mornings when people are commuting to work around 7-8 a.m. You can expect for there to be traffic. Pretty much expect for there to be traffic throughout the full day. There's just always a lot of traffic. Every time that I have to drive from where I currently live to Houston, it's always traffic. And so that's one of the things that you can expect when moving here to Houston. There will be a lot of traffic, and yeah, you want to make sure that you leave your house beforehand so that you can make it to where you are going on time. Traffic gets the worst around 4 to 5 p.m. when people are getting off of work. You can probably expect for traffic to be the worst, especially if you are commuting from Houston to the outskirts. You can probably expect for your drive to be a little bit longer than you anticipated, just because there's so much traffic, and that's normally when people get off of work and they are commuting from their job back home as well. And a lot of people that live in Houston live on the outskirts of Houston because, like I said, it's nicer, it's more quiet, and a lot of these apartments are more affordable than actually living in Houston. One of the biggest things that I don't like about Houston is the weather. Very hot, it's very humid, and anytime that you have to go somewhere or anytime that you step outside, you can expect to be really hot. During the summertime, you want to make sure that you have your AC on full blast because Houston can get very, very hot, especially during the summertime. Houston is too hot for me. Another thing that I would say that I don't like about Houston is I feel like Houston is spread out. You can probably take 15 to 20 minutes, or probably around 20 to 30 minutes driving from one part of Houston to another. That's just how big Houston is. And so, like I said, if you move here, you want to make sure that you definitely have a car. You want to make sure that you have transportation, because you don't want to spend a lot of money on Uber. Uber is not cheap here in Houston. Let's say if I wanted to go downtown Houston, I can probably expect to pay $40 just getting there and another $40 coming back. If I could go back 3 years knowing what I know now, when I actually moved to Houston 3 years ago, I would say that I would move to Houston, but I would definitely do things differently, and I would definitely be more intentional with setting myself up for success. If I can go 3 years back, I would definitely be more intentional. When it comes to moving here to Houston, I would definitely prepare more and make sure that I had my finances in order. I had enough saved. I did a lot of research on what area to move to. I had a set out plan of what I was going to do when I got here and different goals to reach. And one thing that I would say, that do not base your move to Houston based off of what everybody else is doing. Do not move here because everybody else is moving here, because you will be highly disappointed. You don't want to base your move based off of what you currently see from other people and how other people have had success, because Houston is not for everybody. And that's one thing that I will say. Houston is not for everybody. You want to make sure that you pray about your move. You want to make sure that this aligns with where you are trying to go, or who you want to be, or what you want to build. You want to make sure that Houston is in alignment with where you see your future self, or where you see yourself going in life, where you see the things that you want to build. You don't want to base your move off of, oh, because I see this influencer moving to Houston, or I see this person move to Houston and they had success, because ultimately Houston is not for everybody. You want to make sure that you are definitely praying before you move, because it's nothing worse than moving to another city or state and you're miserable or you hate it. So you want to make sure that you are doing a lot of research before you move here, and not just moving based off of what you see other people doing or what you see everybody else doing, because you don't want to put yourself in a predicament or a situation where you're stuck in a lease, or you're stuck in a situation and you can't get out of it, and you wish you didn't make that decision when you move. Definitely pray about your move. Definitely spend time with God about your move, and really think things through and do your research when it comes to Houston. Do not move here blindsided. If you are looking to move to Houston, I hope this video gave you a little bit of a more realistic view of how Houston is and how living in Houston is before you actually make that move. If you want more videos of Houston, the cost of living, different areas to live in, or just if you have any questions on moving here to Houston or what it's like living here in Houston, definitely drop it down below in the comment section below. Also, make sure that you subscribe below, because I definitely have more content coming and you don't want to miss my next upload. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.